Senator from Hawaii, Senator Mazie Hirono. Senator?
Thank you very much. And as we say in Hawaii, aloha. Okay. I always say that because, you know, the people who are aware of Hawaii, you all say aloha back, which means that you've visited Hawaii, and keep on doing that. I'm delighted to be here with everyone. And George, thank you for telling your story about your fighting in the Philippines, because I'm going to get to that in a little bit. To join the others that you have honored this year. And of course, in honoring Senator Inouye, he joins two of his colleagues in receiving this honor, and that is, of course, Senator Ted Stevens of Alaska. And Senator Inouye's friendship with Ted Stevens was legendary, so it's lovely to see Mr. Stevens here. And the other senator was Bob Dole, and some of you may not know that when Senator Inouye was wounded, so was Bob Dole. And they were in the same hospital, I think it was Walter Reed, and they got to know each other back then. And who knew that they would both become United States senators? And that's the greatness of our country. I realize that Ohi Day commemorates the patriotic Greeks coming together to say no and fight the Axis powers during World War II. And that is a similar spirit of patriotism that drove people like Daniel Inouye and others to fight in World War II at a time when their parents and their relatives and others, the Japanese Americans, 120,000 of them were uprooted from their families and sent off to internment camps. And basically their lives were not only interrupted but destroyed. But nevertheless, the patriotism of people like Senator Inouye and others, the Japanese Americans, joined up in droves and fought with our troops. And I think that is an important part of our history to recollect. It was during a time when there was virulent hatred against Japanese Americans. And we must remember never ever to have our country be fomented by that kind of hatred and divisiveness. So he fought during World War II for one of the most highly decorated units during World War II, for which finally Congress recognized the service of these Nisei veterans by awarding them the Congressional Gold Medal. It is the highest honor that Congress bestows. And George, just yesterday, I would like all of you to know that Congress awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to the Filipino veterans of World War II. This is a group that fought alongside us with the promise that they would attain citizenship and benefits. And sadly, our country did not keep that promise. And it took a long time for us to right that wrong. But whenever our country recognizes a wrong and seeks to right it, it is a good day. So yesterday was a good day, but there too, Senator Inouye played a part. I think you all know that Senator Inouye is a hero to so many groups, including American Indians, including, obviously, he meant a lot to all of you. But to the Filipino Americans, he led the charge to make sure that they got some of the compensation that they deserved. So his name, I evoked his name yesterday, and properly so. Personally, I've known Senator Inouye I knew him for many, many years, and in fact, his mother, Kame Inouye, when I first ran for office back in 1980, some of you weren't even born then, I knocked on a little cottage door, and it was in my small state house district, and this tiny woman came up. Her name was Kame Inouye. She said, "My son is Daniel Inouye," and she was my constituent for the time that that I served in the State House of Representatives. So, of course, Senator Inouye and I crossed paths many, many times, and he was one of my biggest supporters when I ran for the Senate seat in 2012. It would have been a huge privilege for me to have served with him in the United States Senate. But sadly, he passed before that happened. One of the traditions in the United States Senate is for the newly elected senator to be escorted down the aisle to the podium to be sworn in by the senior senator of that state. Senator Inouye was looking forward, and I certainly was looking forward to him doing that for me. And even as he was passing, this is a story I heard, Irene, and I'm so glad Irene, my friend Irene Inouye is here. The story I heard was that even in the last days, he wanted to make sure that there would be someone appropriate to escort me, and he let it be known to his family that it should be Senator Patty Murray of Washington State. And indeed, she escorted me down the aisle for me to get sworn in by the Vice President. So up to the last moment, Senator Inouye was thinking of others, and I'm really grateful that you are honoring him today. And as he said in his last breath, aloha, mahalo nui loa. Thank you. Okay.
I want to thank Mazie for that wonderful introduction of Dan, and to thank her for the great work that she is doing in the United States Senate and for taking time this afternoon to be with us. So thank you so much, Mazie. On behalf of the Inouye family, I wish to extend my sincere thanks to the Washington Ohide Foundation for honoring my late husband, U.S. Senator Daniel K. Inouye. I know that he would be especially pleased that he follows last year's honoree, Ted Stevens, his longtime Senate colleague, and I'm so pleased that Catherine is here as well. He would also be pleased, as you heard, that his other colleague, Senator Bob Dole, is another recipient, someone that, again, was a lifelong friend, and as Mazie said, someone who was in the same hospital, where they were in the same hospital together. Dan was always proud of his military service and the many men that he served with during World War II. The 442nd Regimental Combat Team, of which he was a member, was a segregated unit of Japanese Americans. They went on to become the most decorated unit of their size in military history. The 442nd, along with the 100th Infantry Battalion and those that served in the Military Intelligence Service, represented men who were Americans, but at the outbreak of World War II, our country declared them enemy aliens, purely based on their country of origin. Wanting to prove their loyalty to America, many young Japanese American men volunteered, while others were drafted, even while their families were incarcerated in War Relocation Authority camps and Justice Department prisons in very desolate places in the United States. 120,000 who had done no wrong, only that they were of Japanese ancestry. As we gather in this very special place that pays honor to the many men and women who served in World War II, we are reminded of those that served our country bravely. We are also reminded of the fragility of our democracy, a democracy that continues to be a work in progress, but one that has endured due to the many heroes, often ordinary individuals, who proudly put on the uniform to protect our freedoms and our democracy. Dan was the proudest when he could gather with his fellow 442 buddies, many of whom were his lifelong friends, and share a meal and a very important bond. He was proud to serve in the U.S. Senate and proud to serve the country in so many ways in his home state of Hawaii. But for him, his very special time was when he was with those that he served with during the war. I thank you for creating this opportunity to remember those who were ordinary and yet very extraordinary. I congratulate the other honorees and thank you for your service. I know that Dan would be very humbled and honored to be recognized in this very special way on this special day in this special place. Thank you very much.